Good day, I'm Ilse Schoonraad for Group Editors Live. Following a long, intense and bitter campaign, Election Day in the US has finally arrived. And the world can't wait for the insults and cat and dog fights between the Democrat Kamala Harris and the Republican Donald Trump to end. As the Americans love to say, enough already. The two candidates are running neck and neck, and this may lead to recounts, which could delay the announcement of the winner. But if the polls are wrong and either one emerges as the clear winner, the new president may be announced before midnight today, US time. With me in the studio today to talk about the effect of the new president on our economy is economist and financial advisor Matthee. Welcome, Matthee.
Thanks, Ilse.
Matthee, I only have one question for you, but it's loaded. Who do you want to win and why?
Yeah, so I prefer not to express a view on that one, but I think, just looking at the candidates, if you look at someone like Donald Trump, he's been president before. We know the issues that he's going to address. He's spoken a lot about it in his campaign. The main issues are going to be, he said he's going to reduce taxes quite significantly. I think corporate taxes are currently 21% in the US. He's going to reduce them to 15%. That's going to have an impact on the US deficit because he's not going to bring enough revenue in. On the other hand, he's going to put a lot more money in individuals' pockets and also in companies' pockets. And that's why I think a lot of the markets are going to enjoy that. On the other hand, what he's also said, he's going to increase tariffs significantly, especially with regards to China. This is a big campaign point. And we saw remember the trade wars back in his first presidency. He said he's going to increase those tariffs by as much as 20%, in some cases 60%. The reason for that is he wants to bring jobs back to America. He's trying to incentivize American businesses to produce their goods in America. And this is going to be good on the one hand for the Americans and companies there producing jobs, but on the other hand, there's a huge amount of companies who import stuff from China. It's going to be very negative for them. It's actually put upward pressure on inflation because now suddenly it's not as cheap to produce goods in America as in China, as an example. So now the prices are going to increase. So you kind of see this double-edged sword. Look at a company like NVIDIA. A lot of their chips are developed in Malaysia. It's going to have an impact on that. So it's very difficult to see the exact impact it's going to have. But it's one of these campaign points. The other one is a lot less of a role of U.S. government in the U.S. economy. This is very much traditional, what the Republicans say. A lot less role means a lot less regulations. And business is really going to like that. On the other hand, so those are his three things. Higher tariffs, lower taxes, and a lot less government interference. On the other hand, we have Kamala Harris. Now, she was vice president under Joe Biden, and we didn't actually see a lot of her policies back then and who she was. And this is in her campaign. She's trying to bring forward what kind of policies she would bring and how she'd be different from Joe Biden. Looking at what she's campaigned at, it's the one thing is, she actually wants to increase some of the taxes, but just for high-income earners. I think for households above $400,000, she increased taxes. And also for U.S. companies, high-earning companies, she's going to increase taxes. But it's not going to be a large amount, maybe from 21% to 25%. Companies are not going to like it so much, but it's not such a big impact. If you look at the S&P earnings forecast for next year, it's still below double digits. It's not going to have a massive impact. But again, in the shorter term, companies might not like it. I think over the longer term, it's not going to have a massive impact. But then where she campaigns and she gets support from other areas are things like US housing. The average price in the US of a house is something like $600,000. In rands, that's like 10 million. Imagine your average house price is 10 million. And Americans are really struggling with that. So I know she's campaigned and said she's going to have subsidies for developers in housing. I think one of the things she said is that first-time homeowners will get a $25,000 check. She's also going to help the US consumer in their healthcare, because healthcare is incredibly expensive over there. And another thing is also in childcare. So that's where her campaign has gone. Those are the main points. Going back to your questions, who I want to win, I don't have a view there. What I would like is for the winner to be gracious and for the loser to accept who's won there and for it not to be contested and for us not to have a repeat of what happened the last time when Trump lost to Biden. I think that's what the market wants. The market at this time, if you think of the players in the economy, they just want it to be over. They want it to be certainty so they know what's going to happen. And I mean, I look at the market now. I think while they want this to be over, they're more concerned of what's happening in the US economy right now. The US economy, if you look at the latest jobs data coming out, there was only 12,000 jobs created in October. Compared to previously, it was 100,000, and previously, a couple of months before that, it was 200,000. So that's showing the US economy seems to be slowing down. So the bigger decision is what the Fed's going to do. Is the Fed going to cut rates? And that decision is tomorrow. So again, that's my answer. I want it to be just stability and the loser to accept who wins. Maybe also thinking about what is the impact of it on South Africa. So again, this comes back to, I'm not sure with Harris, I think it's actually probably better for South Africa if she wins. She hasn't spoken so much about tariffs. She's spoken about tariffs, but not nearly as much as Trump. Whereas Donald Trump, on the other hand, he wants to impose tariffs on everything. And I know we get preferential trade treatment with America through our GO relationship. I don't think Trump really cares about Africa.
Well, we should know within the next 24, 48 hours which way this election goes. And yes, our diplomatic economist here, Matthee, wouldn't stick his neck out as to who his favourite is, but then again, none of us would. Matthee, thank you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
I'm Ilse Schoonraad for Group Editors Live.